In the 80s, a unique figure emerged into the spotlight. With a distinctive voice and a style that defied norms, George Allen O'Dowd, better known as Boy George, captivated generations with hits like Karma Chameleon and Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? His meteoric rise to fame took him not only to the stage but also to the catwalks and the forefront of fashion. However, as with every tale of success, there are aspects of his life that rarely come to light. Behind the extravagant makeup and bold clothing, this androgynous icon, even at the height of his fame, fought a silent battle against a relentless adversary: drug addiction. Born in England on June 14, 1961, Boy George grew up in South London with 4 siblings, the children of Irish Catholic parents, Jerry and Dinah. He likened his family to a sad Irish song and described his father, who was physically and mentally abusive to his mother, as a terrible father and husband. Being the second child, he felt he had the middle child syndrome. I never felt at home in any world. I always felt like an outsider, even in the groups I should have been part of, the gay culture, pop music. I don't know why it happens, but I've met many middle children, and they all feel like me, left to their own devices. As a child, I would wander alone for long distances. In a 2020 interview with GQ magazine, he shared that he was obsessed with music from a young age. He didn't have a room of his own and would leave the record player on whenever possible. At 11, his father gave him a ticket to see David Bowie. Without a bus fare, he walked to the concert, and that experience made him crave fame. Mark Bolan, lead singer of T-Rex, and Patti Smith were also mentioned by him as influences on his music and style. George found it difficult to fit into traditional masculinity stereotypes and crafted his own image. "I didn't mind walking down the street and being stared at. I loved it," he recalled. During his school years, his grades were low, and he often clashed with teachers. Eventually, he was expelled from school due to his increasingly eccentric behavior and unique style, including his extravagant clothes and makeup. Out of school, George took on various jobs to support himself, from fruit picking to working as a hat maker. He even applied his skills as a makeup artist at a theater company, which provided him with valuable techniques for his personal use. His noticeable presence while wandering the streets and clubs of London, along with the attention he received from local newspapers for his colorful demeanor, led to a job as a DJ. This was the starting point for his career in music, and he was soon invited to join a band. Before forming Culture Club, Boy George was part of a group called Bow Wow Wow, invited by Malcolm McLaren, former manager of the punk group Sex Pistols. However, he soon realized that this was not his path. In 1981, he decided to start his own band, joining forces with bassist Mikey Craig. Shortly after, drummer John Moss and guitarist John Suede, quickly replaced by Roy Hay, joined them. Initially, they went by the name In Praise of Lemmings, then Sex Gang Children, before finally settling on Culture Club, reflecting the ethnic diversity of its members. Sporting an exotic aesthetic and blending new wave, soul, and reggae, the band caught the attention of Virgin Records, which saw potential in their sound. Culture Club fit into the New Romantics movement, a pop trend that emerged in the early 80s in the UK, heavily influenced by artists like David Bowie and having a lasting impact on the decade. With the release of their first album, Kissing to Be Clever, in 1982, Culture Club soared to stardom with the smash hit single Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? The rise of Culture Club didn't stop there. They quickly won over the American audience, becoming the first group since the Beatles to have 3 songs in the top 10. Their second album, Color by Numbers, featured hits like Church of the Poison Mind and Karma Chameleon. In 1984, Culture Club won the coveted Grammy for Best New Artist. During the ceremony, George delivered an iconic and provocative acceptance speech. "Thank you, America. You've got style, you appreciate good taste, and you know a real drag queen when you see one."
Thank you, America. You've got taste, style, and you know a good drag queen when you see one.
He shared in an interview with El País that at the time his team was nervous. "Our press officer started to cry. There were even threats. At the time I didn't pay much attention, but later I realized that my words had a significant impact. Interestingly, all the drag queens in the United States became my fans. I am always surprised by how people remember details of things I said offhandedly. If I had been more serious in my words, my God." Boy George has long been a flag bearer for the LGBT community. With his aesthetic of bright color combinations, layers of multicolored garments, and lavish makeup, he proudly flaunted his androgynous look. In the early days of Culture Club, Boy George steered clear of drugs, avoided alcohol, and did not smoke. However, by the mid-80s, he had changed dramatically and his behavior was no longer the same. The band's third album, Waking Up with the House on Fire, didn't shine like the first two, and George was in the midst of a tumultuous romance with John Moss, the drummer who did not identify as gay. The problematic relationship was evident even to John's parents. During a meeting with his partner's mother, George was treated coldly and had to eat in the kitchen with the servants. The situation between them dramatically escalated. According to the British newspaper Mirror, John Moss recalled, "He tried to hit me with a plant pot, seriously. He threw it from the second floor at my head. I also tried to set him on fire one night. It wasn't nice at all." At that time, aside from the problematic relationship, George embarked on excessive spending and heroin use. His drug addiction led to conflicts with the other Culture Club members, ultimately resulting in the band's breakup in 1986. Rumors of his addiction spread through the British tabloids, leading George to admit in a notable interview with Rolling Stone in July 1986 that he was addicted to heroin. That same year, he was arrested for marijuana possession during a police raid at his home. Shortly after, a musician named Michael Rudetsky was found dead from a heroin overdose in George's house, leading Michael's parents to blame him for the tragedy. The singer sought rehabilitation, but the scandal marred Culture Club's reputation, affecting their sales. Eventually, George officially announced the band's disbandment and embarked on a solo career, debuting with the album Sold, 1987. By the end of the 1980s, he followed the path of many artists of the time and faded into obscurity. Through sporadic recordings, isolated performances, and compilation re-releases, George navigated the 1990s without much fanfare. In 2000, he returned to his musical roots, the DJ decks. Earlier, I mentioned that for a while, George worked as a DJ before forming Culture Club. He released albums of mix sets featuring his own music and other well-known hits. In 2002, George teamed up with a cast of celebrities for the grand premiere of his new musical titled Taboo. The star not only penned the narrative of his own journey to fame, but also incorporated significant characters from his past. The musical was packed with George's new compositions, along with Culture Club's #1 hits, and was brilliantly performed by Scottish actor Ewan Morton. However, if you think Boy George's troubles ended there and his life from then on was a bed of roses, you are sorely mistaken. In 2005, he was arrested in New York, charged with drug possession and providing false information to the police. He had contacted the police, claiming his Manhattan home was burglarized. Officers searched the residence and found nothing amiss. However, they discovered a small amount of cocaine. He was fined and performed street cleaning as part of community service. Returning to London in 2009, George faced a 15-month prison sentence for the imprisonment of a Norwegian model and escort, whom he had handcuffed and assaulted in his apartment. He disclosed that he was in the midst of heavy cocaine use and a psychotic episode during the incident. After 4 months in jail, showing good behavior and wearing an electronic tag, he was released. Committed to his recovery, he sought treatment and has remained drug-free since then. Despite personal troubles and the tarnished reputation he amassed over the years, Boy George, now 62, appears to be at peace with himself. In a 2014 interview with El País, he discussed his quest to improve his image. I understand that I cannot change people's perception of me. My loyal fans grasp my essence, but there is a portion of the public with a distorted view. One advantage of having a questionable reputation is that when traveling the world, those who expect the worst are often surprised when they meet me. The journey to discovering myself has been lengthy. I am quick in the creative field but slow in my personal development. It took me 47 years to reach maturity and leave behind my self-destructive ways. In 2010, George confirmed that Culture Club would reunite, promising a new album and tour. However, it wasn't until 2018 that they released their first album in 19 years. Despite disbanding in 1986, the band briefly returned for the release of the album Don't Mind If I Do in 1999. For the music video of the single Life from Culture Club's 2018 album, Boy George set aside his signature makeup. Of all the songs we've created recently, I believe Life best represents my current state. It expresses the gratitude I feel. It's a testament to how things are going well now and how a transformation has taken place. After spending time in Australia, where he served as a judge on The Voice, George returned to the UK, which he considers his true home and where he feels most comfortable. With his own record label, BGP, he has also been involved in composing and promoting other artists. In a 2018 interview with The Guardian, he stated that he was single but not complaining. The latest news about the star relates to his mother, Dinah O'Dowd, who passed away at the age of 84 in March 2023. In April 2020, George shared that Dinah had undergone surgery for heart and lung problems. He had a close relationship with his mother, who raised him alone after his father abandoned the family. She stood by him through his most challenging times. Sharing his story on the program Life Stories in 2017, Boy George reflected, "My father was a rather intense person. He could lose his temper and throw the entire Sunday lunch away, leaving everyone hungry. It was not until I was 15 or 16 that I realized the true strength of my mother." If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Thanks for watching!